cut the individual rates from 7 brackets to 4. Simplification. 25%, 20%, 10%, and 0.
Brad Melke's been following this interesting development. Good morning, Brad Melke.
Hey, good morning, McGraw.
All right, so is it as simple as that?
Well, it is a pretty simple tax plan in that, like you just heard, Donald Trump would cut it from 7 tax brackets to 4, and that 0% one is interesting in that he says anyone earning less than $25,000 or married couples earning less than $50,000 a year would pay nothing in taxes. That would effectively take millions of people off the taxpayer rolls, probably save several people $1,000 or $1,100, somewhere in that range every year, and that you would get a very simple sheet to send back to the federal government that would include the words "I win" on it. That's what the Trump campaign says you would get as somebody making that amount of money. And then that top tax rate, you heard 25%. That is far less than the current top tax rate, which is almost 40%. So there's something to like for everyone, I suppose, if you're a taxpayer. Maybe just not if you're that person whose job it is to pile up money in the federal coffers.
What about the corporate tax? He also touched on that, too.
Yeah, that's right. So he says the corporate tax that no company, whether it's a Fortune 500 company or a small mom-and-pop business or a freelancer, would pay more than 15% as far as business taxes. Now, again, the current top rate for business is 35%. So that's a huge, huge tax slash that he says he would make up for by bringing money back from overseas and by closing loopholes for very, very top earners. But a lot of tax experts scratching their head this morning saying, I don't know if you can make up for a 30 to 50% decrease.
Right, okay, so is this going to be on the back of those poor, lonely hedge funds managers?
Well, he actually had some things that hedge fund managers would like, too, in that making money off of investments, the top tax rate for that would actually be lowered as well. So as much of a populist message as he's been sending and saying that he's making this off the back of these hedge fund managers, even they have something to like here as well. So the question is going to be, will the dollars pour in from the deductions that he says he's eliminate, and would the economy grow at a rate that would sustain it? He says he can get the economy growing at a rate of 6% a year, which is even more than Jeb Bush's 4% a year he's always talking about. So an even more high energy, maybe, proposal from Donald Trump.
The other side of this coin is how do you make up for the lost revenue in the Treasury?
Yeah, well, he says that he would; those costs would all be offset by closing loopholes to the very, very rich. But let's say that people not paying their taxes by getting crazy amounts of deductions, that might save 10 or 12%. That's what a lot of experts say that the uber wealthy get away without paying. But that does not make up for the 30% rate that those people would be dropping from. That's the question is where would the rest of that money come from? And so far, not many specifics from the Trump camp on that.
This plan is not that unusual. Is it not sort of based in all of their plans? Isn't this sort of like everyone else's plans out there?
Yeah, the GOP, the main talking points for the GOP will be that we want to simplify the tax code, and that is exactly what Donald Trump is doing here in making these very clear tax brackets and in getting rid of a lot of loopholes and deductions, saying that will offset all the tax cuts that are being tossed around here. So in that regard, you're absolutely right, McGraw, that this is not that exclusive to the Trump campaign. And you could see him going off of his notes yesterday, which is kind of unusual for Donald Trump. And it was clear that he had been talking to tax policy experts and to advisors within the GOP circles, and that there was that stayed really in line with what a lot of the candidates have been putting out there.
Has anybody talked to accountants or corporate tax attorneys that if you simplify the code, why would I have to pay them $600 to do my taxes?
Well, yeah, and that was Donald Trump's main talking point for people that he said would be paying 0% is not only would you be saving $1,000 a year or several $100s a year by not paying taxes, but you'd also save $120 or $150 or $200 in hiring someone to prepare those very, very low taxes.
So the corporate tax attorneys
to look for as well.
Yeah, so the corporate tax attorneys and all the accountants out there are not happy with a simplified tax code.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the ultra high-powered ones that are paid thousands upon thousands of dollars to look through corporate taxes would be looking for a little extra work.
Brad Melke, ABC News correspondent. Thanks for checking in, Brad.
Thank you.
7:25 here, Big 550 KTRS.